Hello, welcome to Veteran Voice. I'm Larry McCullaugh, I'll be the host today. We've got a Navy recruiter on today that we've been planning to have for some time, and we were finally able to work out the details. So my guest today is Chief Petty Officer Timothy Matt. Chief, welcome to the program.
Hello, Larry. Nice to be here.
I'm glad that you were able to get away and come by and see us, and we're going to hear a little bit about your experiences in the Navy and maybe let you do a little commercial or infomercial on why people should consider joining the Navy forces. Why don't we start by talking about when you went into the service and why you chose the Navy and where you took your training at?
I originally joined up in 1989, and I was off to boot camp immediately after that, and I went to Chicago. Now, my original intention when I joined was the start of the war had begun in 1989 and everything was going on, so I felt I should do something, and I wanted to serve my country anyway and plus attend school. So the Navy gave me all the opportunities I needed to do that, and that's basically why I joined. After I did join in 1989, I immediately went to boot camp in Chicago at Recruit Training Command Great Lakes for about a period of 2 months. Graduated there at top of my class, and at that point I was rewarded for that, and I was allowed to choose another job for the Navy that I wanted to do. I originally came in as an undesignated airman, which is a program they don't offer anymore, but I wanted to mess with airplanes and do something in the aviation field, so I got to strike a job. And at that point I was recontracted and sent to Pensacola, Florida, where I attended A school and went through A school for about a 3.5 to 4 month period and kicked off my career at that point. My number one thing though when I joined was I wanted to travel a lot. The Navy has great opportunities for that as well. The traveling, within the Navy you'll travel more than any other branch of the service, I believe, with the ships that we do have and our op tempo and what our main primary job is allows for a lot of the travel overseas, and that was my number one priority. It led me to my first duty station in Japan. I was stationed at HS-12 in Atsugi, Japan, aboard the USS Midway. And at that point, I stayed there for 4.5 years, ended up going to Jacksonville, Florida for about 2 years. And then I loved Japan so much, I wanted to go back. So I terminated my shore duty and ended up picking up orders to VFA 192 back in Japan. And that was a choice I made. I loved it over there, it was fun. I did a lot of traveling. Then after VFA 192, I ended up going to HC5 in Guam, which is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. A lot of people don't even know it exists, but it's down there. After that, I picked up orders for a second tour in Guam to HSC 25. And at that point, I enjoyed my career so much that I continued on and went to recruiting duty. I had 17 years in now, so I'm about ready to retire, so I wanted to come back to the United States, start feeling some things out here and getting back in reality of what it's like to be in the United States since I was gone so long, and settle down some roots, so to speak, and pick up recruiting duty. And the opportunity for recruiting duty is I can give back a little bit to the Navy. When I was recruited into the Navy, the recruiter that signed me up gave me some good opportunities, and I appreciated everything that he did. In turn, I felt I could give back a little bit of that and help somebody else out along the way and maybe change their life and give them what they want, which brings me here to Paducah, Kentucky. It's a great place to be.
You like it here then?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. It's a wonderful place to be. It's the camaraderie in the town is tremendous. There's a big military support in this community. Everybody's friendly, and I have done nothing but enjoy it since I've been here.
Good.
So it's a great opportunity.
You say you were on the Midway.
Yes.
Big carrier, huh?
Aircraft carrier, yes. At that time when I was stationed on the USS Midway, it was the oldest operating aircraft carrier in the fleet, and I did decommission that ship, and we cross-decked over to the USS Independence, which in turn then became the next oldest carrier in the fleet. And I operated on the Independence as well for a while. We cross-decked from the Independence to the Kitty Hawk, and that once again became one of the older operational forward deployed carriers in the fleet. But the Midway was an awesome ship. It's seen a lot of action. It was deployed during World War II, and it was a very good ship. It was a small carrier, but very operational, very flexible, and the crew of that ship was just phenomenal. From the deck plate sailors to the Airedales, everybody knew everybody, and the camaraderie was just amazing.
Now, about how many people are on a carrier that size?
Right now,
ballpark.
with the new conventional carriers that we do have, they're going to house roughly 5,000 people.
Wow.
So they do have a lot of capabilities on a carrier. A carrier can pull in, with the power plants and the water dispensers that they have, they can support a small community, so to speak. But they're self-supportive nowadays with the nuclear reactors on board. They have their own water systems, their own power plants, steam generators, and things of that nature. So it's basically it's a moving city.
So you
Definitely.
out there boating around, and I guess you're not supposed to call them boats, are you? They call them ships.
Ships, yes.
Ships,
Yeah.
yeah. Somebody dressed me down for that one time.
Yeah, the captain will definitely get on you if you call his ship a boat.
He didn't like that too well, huh?
No, no, you'll hear about it. Definitely.
But you say it's like a small city but you say most of the people, everybody pretty much knows everybody, or?
Yeah, there's a large camaraderie. Like I said, within the Navy, our operational tempo and the way we operate allows for us the community to get tighter bonds. We're together a lot. We do a lot of things together. There's no single person doing a job, so to speak. Whenever you do anything in the Navy, you're always doing it as a group. There's not individuality, so you get an opportunity to meet a lot of folks, and you get an opportunity to cross-train as well and learn multiple job fields while you're in. And that's one of the requirements that we do have now with the Sea Warrior program that's been developed in the Navy.
So yeah, you got to cross train from your original. I know in the Army they call it an MOS, your basic job or what you're doing.
Yeah, in the Navy it's called NEC.
NEC.
Yes, it's a Navy Enlisted Classification Code.
Okay.
And
But then you get some cross training when you're on board. Does that just kind of happen because you've got the time at sea and you can do that, or?
well, it's time and service. Everybody starts out in a primary NEC. Nobody's contracted into the Navy without a job. Everybody is given a job the day they contract into the Navy, and the job that they're contracted to do, they will do for their entire career. There are opportunities to change that job if you wish. If something doesn't work out or you decide that you don't like the job, you'll get that opportunity. But within each job field, there are multiple NECs that can be obtained. It's hard to explain each individual one. For my job field, for instance, there's 6 NECs that you can obtain, and right now I have obtained 2 of those. And then plus on top of that, with recruiting duty, it's a job that's outside of my regular assigned duties that I was contracted to do for the Navy. It's something that I volunteered for, and the Navy gave me an opportunity to do it, and in turn it allowed me to get another NEC classification. And all the NECs that I have obtained, from computer system repair to data analyst to recruiting, are all NECs are jobs that are transferable into a civilian sector job.
So now the more you learn as far as cross training stuff, does that help you as far as advancing in rank?
Absolutely. The more you know, like I said, with the Sea Warrior program, the Navy's changed their gears, and they're looking at different things nowadays. The Sea Warrior program started a few years ago. I was an old sailor. It wasn't around, when they brought it up. The old dog knew tricks. We were afraid of the change, but it is a program. It took a little bit of time to get it going, but once it kicked off, it was phenomenal because it allowed the sailors to get an education at their own pace. We have a Navy Knowledge Online program now. They can go out and get qualifications independently and on their own. And at the same time, each time they learn their job, then they go out and they learn a collateral duty, so to speak. They learn something outside of their rate and they get qualified to do it. It's very marketable because that's something you can put on your yearly evaluations, which is looked at during the promotion process. So the sailor that wants to go out and learn multiple things, his opportunity of advancement are going to be much more likely than the guy that just does what he has to do to get by. So, and like I said, we're looking at knowledge nowadays. Its brain is where we're going. We don't really push the brawn anymore. We do have a physical fitness standard, but we definitely want the education to be there.
I know things have changed quite a bit from the time that I was in back in '70. And I know back then in the Army anyway, all you had, every problem that you had, we'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. You're blind, only got one eye. We take care of that. We'll fix it for you. We'll find something you can do. Whereas nowadays, I think that a lot of the branches of service are a little more particular about the education background and people that are coming in. They want to make sure that they've got quality people. Is that pretty much what you're looking for when you get young people coming and talking to you about joining?
Absolutely. The standard rises every day for the Navy. Every morning I wake up and I go to the office, there's a new criteria that's going to be set in place. A lot of people still believe that the military in all branches is like it was 30, 40 years ago, that they'll take anybody. That isn't the case nowadays. Believe it or not, with the current statistics that we've been given, about 60% of America is disqualified to join the Navy, in particular, either mentally, morally, or physically. And that's a major setback. And a lot of that's education. People don't want to finish high school. They need to stay in school and get their education. If that's not feasible at some point, they need to continue on and try and get their GED to the best of their ability. And there's a lot of programs out there that people can look into that are state funded and free. But education is definitely on our priority list.
So it's not the way it was anymore. That we can give him a mop and have him.
No, it's not.
Swab the decks. You got to have some brains.
Yep, even to handle the mop nowadays, you got to have the education. So
I'm sure there's a certain technique to it. I wouldn't know that myself, but
plenty of time in the Navy, you'll learn, I guess.
But
yeah, we're definitely looking at education, college as well. We're focusing on colleges for reserve components. We need to get people in that know particular job fields already. Even on active duty, we're going the same way. We want people to come in with the education, and with the college benefits that we offer now, it's amazing. With 100% tuition assistance on active duty, you can go to school during working hours at some given point, depending on the situation. And with all the courses that we do offer, online courses, CLEP courses, classroom courses, and the Navy Knowledge Online, and all of our personal qualification standards, everything's transferable semester hours, and you can obtain a degree by doing all these things. So it's definitely something that we're looking at and striving for.
So you can be serving your country and actually getting a college degree at the same time?
Absolutely, absolutely. All the schools that we go to are A schools, and boot camp included. You do earn college semester hours, and they are transferable semester hours to apply towards a degree of your choice. So no matter what you do in the Navy, each time you do a qualification that's going to help you get promoted or give you some type of benefit or teach you a new job, you're still earning semester hours for college at the same time, and you don't even realize it. So it's a win-win situation. Whether you want them or not, they're there, and if you never use them, don't worry about it. But if you need them, you got them.
So somebody that doesn't want to necessarily make a career out of the Navy can still come out after 6 years or 8 years and have a very good chance of getting into the job market because of the education that they picked up while they were serving their country.
Absolutely. A lot of people think that you're tied down to the military 24/7. There's no life outside of that, and that's not the truth. There is a life outside of that, and a lot of people use the military nowadays to obtain a degree. It's quite feasible to go on active duty for 4 years, do your job, take what semester hours you've earned from the military by doing your job in the schools, and by going to college during your off time, you could earn an associate's degree within that 4 years. And then we do have job placement services for when you get out. You just don't get out of the military and we send you on your way. You go to a transition program, and we create a job resume for you. We have job banks that you can register for, and we'll help you get job placement virtually everywhere in the United States. So, and one of our big programs right now, and I know several sailors that have done it, it's a program called Troops to Teachers. And it's personnel that come on active duty that earn their degrees, and the military and the U.S. government has created this website, and almost every state is in it. But we do job placement services for sailors that want to be teachers. And some of the fees and things that they're required to pay in order to get their licenses and teaching certificates is waived by the U.S. government, and it's paid for by them, and it allows them to get a job virtually anywhere they want to go.
So when they do get ready to get out, you're not just, here's the door, thanks for your service, we'll see you around. You're actually active in making sure that they find gainful employment in the country, someplace where they'd like to be.
Absolutely.
That's great. I know that Tillman's got a really good junior ROTC program. Do you all have any communication or anything with them at all, or?
Yes, we got Commander Taylor and Chief Spragues over there,
Yeah.
two outstanding gentlemen. They've been running that ROTC program for several years. We go over there on a regular basis and talk to the students. The main thing we do is we tell a lot of sea stories. You know, we give them the inside gouge on the Navy, what's going on. And those folks over there, they do tours every year at bases, and they get hands-on knowledge of what the Navy's like. And I have yet to see a group come back disappointed. They're always full of stories about what happened and what went on. But it's a great outfit, and yes, we do things with them on a regular basis as much as we possibly can with the job permitting.
I know the veteran service organizations every year support their ventures to where they go, and they always bring us back a picture and some stories about what they did. And I guess they get a good education about the Navy, and like you say, get some hands-on time,
Yes.
get a chance to feel like a full-fledged soldier or sailor. I'm sorry. And do you have a lot of those that go ahead and go into the Navy when they get out of school?
Not necessarily the Navy. The ROTC program is a Navy ROTC, but all branches of the military will look at it. You know, they don't offer everything in a small community such as this. So, you know, the kids aren't afforded the opportunity to do the Army ROTC or Air Force ROTC, but all branches will look at them, and I believe everybody goes over there periodically throughout the year and talks to the students in regards to what's going on, and we do support them in what they do. Now, one of the good things about the NJROTC unit is this, is if you complete 3 full years of NJROTC and you enlist in the Navy, you will be meritoriously promoted upon enlistment to a pay grade of E3, Vice E1, which is a good thing. So your time spent there, if you're looking for a military career, your time spent there is not wasted. It's something that's going to benefit you later on. Not to mention, by going through all that, you learn the basic military drills, the general orders, stuff that you're going to need to know when you go to boot camp. Your probability of success at that point is going to be extreme. You're going to have a good chance of being the successful person.
So when you go into boot camp, the cadre that are going to be trained, you're aware of the fact that you've got that. It may put you in a better position to be like a squad leader, or I know in the Army it's a squad. I don't know if how they do it in the Navy. Does it give you an advancement for rank at an earlier time, or?
Well, before they even go to boot camp, they'll be promoted to E3.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that's given to them for their dedication to the military already. We recognize that, and it's the same as like Eagle Scout. If people would take the time their entire lives to go through the Scouts and earn their Eagle Scout certificate, you know, we will promote them to E3. That is a qualification that gentleman worked hard for, and the military looks at that and they'll recognize that, and they know how difficult it is to obtain.
Now, how many people, say, per month do you have come in that are interested in joining the Navy, and how many of them are actually qualified?
Per month, our walk-in market is what we refer to it as, is not very high. We do find a lot of people, but I would say 1 out of 10 people that walk in our office without prior notification are 1 out of 10 is qualified. The other 9 are disqualified for some reason.
They're just not ready for it.
Well, no, it's not necessarily that. It's like I said, 60% of America is disqualified mentally, morally, or physically. Right now, the number one thing is education. People need to stay in school. The Navy is pro-education right now, and we will not send anybody to boot camp without either a GED or high school diploma. We're looking at our market, it's starting at 17 years old. We can enlist somebody at 17, but they will not ship for boot camp until after they graduate. Now, during the DEP process, or the delayed entry program, while they're back here, we do monitor their grades and things like that. Those are all directives that we're required to do by Chief of Naval Recruiting Command. We want to ensure that their grades are good, and we want to ensure that they're going to graduate. If they're not going to graduate, we're going to address it and say, talk to the individual. Why are you failing this class? What are you doing? And try and see if we can help him out a little bit, maybe, and get him to where he needs to be successful. So the mentoring process for the Navy will start the day that they start talking to us about joining. It doesn't start when you go to boot camp. So there is a big difference there.
Now, where do you seem to have your best results recruiting at? I mean, I assume you go to the schools and different places. Is there any particular place where you seem to have very good results, or is it just hit and miss?
Mainly the schools. We talk to a lot of young individuals their senior years. They may not join their senior year, but we talk to them, give them the information about the Navy. Sometimes, young folks, they want to take a break after high school, which is understandable. They've been going through a lot of stuff. They want to figure out what they want to do next. But a lot of them come in, shortly after graduation, and they talk to us, and they decide to go through with the enlistment process. Maybe a scholarship didn't work out for them, and the Navy can give them the money they need to go to school. So,
what are the most outstanding reasons, in your opinion, that a person should choose the Navy over one of the other? I mean, I know you're not going to say anything bad about any of the other branches. I know y'all are out there together and you get along well.
Right now, all branches. What we do is, with the current job market the way it is, the pay for the military is very, very competitive. A lot of people just look at the base pay. What they don't look at is the benefits that you receive. That's the problem we have with a lot of young folks, is they just looked at the dollar value, and that's what catches their eye. But what they don't see is the amount it's going to cost them for insurance. When we're going to provide 100% medical and dental, plus $38,000 for college after they're done on active duty, 100% tuition assistance, room and board. Once you compile all those into the base pay and you add that up, we're extremely competitive. And in this area, we seem to hit the higher job market. So
a lot of them, they're a little short-sighted. As being young, I understand.
Right.
They're looking at cash. How many dollars am I going to get? And sometimes you've got to explain to them the other things that they've taken for granted all this time. Mom and dad have paid for the insurance and the dental and a lot of the other things that when you get out of the nest, things you just don't think about. And the Navy's going to take care of those for you.
Yeah. But the best reason I can say to join the Navy right now is for the educational benefits. They're not the greatest in the world, but they are enough that when you do 4 years of active duty, you can come off and still have almost an associate's degree, if not an associate's degree, and enough money to go on and continue your education and probably move towards the bachelor's degree and have enough to complete that. And it's phenomenal. And the job experience alone, the background of the military will support you later on in life.
Well, and also if they enjoy serving in the Navy, end up in a situation like yours, you've got about how many years till retirement now?
3 more years, Larry.
3 more years,
I'm done.
And you're still going to be able to retire at a fairly young age.
41.
41.
41. So my next cruise will be on Kentucky Lake, and many more after that.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so at 41, you'll have a decent pension coming in. You'll have the benefits of being a veteran.
Yes.
That's another thing that might entice some kids. Hey, instead of waiting to 65 like Dad and having to retire, get my retirement at 41 years old and have a pension coming in, and then get a part-time job on the side. You could have a very nice income coming in.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
but, if they're looking to join, all they got to do is give us a call.
Okay. Well, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? I know that you've got your office is out.
We're at 4793 Village Square Drive. It's right behind Walmart, down by the Oaks Mall, and they're more than welcome to come out and see us anytime they want. Our doors are always open. We open up at 0900, and we'll be open into the evening. Sometimes it's late, sometimes it's a little bit earlier. It just depends on what's going on in the office. Or they can give us a call at 443-6289.
Okay. Now, I noticed that they got all of y'all right there together. The
yes,
Army. How's that work out?
Pretty good, actually.
Do you ever have somebody that goes from one to the offense, just like playing the sales
Yeah,
game?
we'll get the groupie is what we call them. We'll get the groupie to come in. They'll go to all branches, but that's not a bad thing. You know, we encourage a lot of folks, if they're not sure what they want to do, you know, explore your options. Look at the other branches. You know, if you want to be a part of the Navy, I'll go above and beyond to put you in the Navy. But only if you want to do it. You know, it's not for everybody. The Navy may not offer what everybody else has to offer, but you know, it just depends on the person. So we encourage people to look at their options and shop around and see what they think is the best to suit their needs.
Well, I know that we've done some events together for veterans where I see you fellows out there in the Army Reserve and the other guys, and you all know each other real well because you're right there with each other. And there's just a lot of friendly competition, which is something else that goes on after you get in the military. I know over at the VFW post, you know, you ever get 2 Air Force guys and 1 Army guy, you're in trouble. Or, well, The other day I had 3 submariners, and I was in there just with those 3 submariners, and boy, I knew I was in for a rough time then.
Yeah. Well, we work with each other because it's not, if one individual is not qualified to join one particular branch, you know, we'll look at what he's got and we'll advise him and take him over. You know, if somebody's not eligible to join the Navy, but he wants to join the Marines, I'll take him over there and I'll walk him in and I'll explain to him what's going on, and we try and help out the individual is our #1 goal. And it's not about cutting each other's throat or, you know, making the goal and stuff, but it is about the individual, and we do help each other out on a daily basis.
How's recruiting going right now?
For the Navy, we're doing pretty good. Across the board, nationwide, we are meeting our goals. In a couple areas, you know, we might have a pitfall or two, but for the most part, we're there. And with the downsizing of the Navy, and it's happening every year for the past 3 years, and it's coming again next year, goals will probably go smaller and smaller. A lot of people don't realize it. There's a waiting line to get in the Navy nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're putting in people today that don't get to leave for boot camp for another 6 to 8 months.
Okay, well, Chief, I'm glad you came on today. I would encourage the young people that are seeing this to come on out and talk to you when they graduate from school. Study hard, keep your grades up, and for crying out loud, finish high school. You got to do that.
Stay in school.
But I appreciate you coming by and seeing us today, and hope you'll come back and see us again. Give us an update sometime.
Appreciate it, Larry.
And hope you all enjoyed this segment, and hope you'll join us next time on Veteran Voice.